teman-teman, hari ini kita akan mendengarkan sebuah cerita rakyat terkenal dari Indonesia, yaitu Tangkuban Perahu. Tapi kita akan ceritakan dalam dua bahasa, yaitu bahasa Indonesia dan bahasa Inggris. Yuk kita mulai. Hi friends, today we will hear a famous Indonesian folktale, Tangkuban Perahu. And guess what? We'll tell it into language Indonesia and English. Let's go.
Once upon a time, there lived a mother named Dayang Sumbi who lived with her son Sangkuriang. They lived together in a village with their beloved dog named Tumang. Before living alone with her son, Dayang Sumbi had married a deity who had been cursed into an animal and cast down to earth. Unknowingly, they actually lived as three with Dayang Sumbi's husband and Sangkuriang's father, who had been turned into the cursed dog. As time passed, Sangkuriang grew into a handsome and strong young man. He became a brave youth who loved hunting, always accompanied by Tumang, who was actually his own father in the form of a dog. One day, Dayang Sumbi asked Sangkuriang to hunt a deer because she wished to eat its liver. Sangkuriang, accompanied by Tumang, went into the forest to hunt a deer for her. In the forest, Sangkuriang saw a deer grazing behind some bush. Sangkuriang then ordered Tumang to chase after the deer. However, something strange happened. Tumang, who was usually obedient, refused to chase a deer. Sangkuriang became angry and said, "If you do not obey me, I will kill you." Tumang ignored the threat, which made Sangkuriang even angrier. In his rage, Sangkuriang killed Tumang and took his heart to give to Dayang Sumbi, pretending it was deer liver. Unaware, Dayang Sumbi accepted the heart of her husband, unknowingly killed. Dayang Sumbi realized the truth after cooking and eating the heart. She was furious when she discovered that the heart belonged to Tumang. Dayang Sumbi grabbed a ladle made from coconut shell and struck Sangkuriang's head while shouting, "Tumang was your father, Sangkuriang." Receiving such treatment, Sangkuriang felt hurt and furious. He could not accept how his mother treated him. Sangkuriang thought that Dayang Sumbi loved Tumang more than him. Without saying goodbye, Sangkuriang set out to wander eastward. After Sangkuriang's departure, Dayang Sumbi regretted her action toward her son. She prayed to the gods for forgiveness. Hearing her prayers, the gods forgave her and granted her eternal beauty. Meanwhile, Sangkuriang, who wandered aimlessly, grew into a handsome and strong man who captivated many women. Without realizing it, after many years of wandering, he returned to his birthplace. Sangkuriang stopped by a small hut to ask the owner for water. Unknowingly, he was captivated by Dayang Sumbi's eternal beauty. He did not realize that the beautiful woman he met was his own mother. Likewise, Dayang Sumbi, seeing the strong and charming young man before her, did not realize it was her son, Sangkuriang. From that moment, affection and love grew between them, and they eventually planned to marry. Before the wedding, Sangkuriang, who had changed his name to Jaka, planned to go hunting in the forest. Dayang Sumbi helped Jaka, her future husband, to put on a head covering. Dayang Sumbi was shocked when she saw a scar on his head. The scar reminded her of her son who had left her long ago. She became certain that the handsome man about to marry her was her son, Sangkuriang. Seeing the scar, Dayang Sumbi revealed to him that she was his mother, Dayang Sumbi, and that he was her long-lost son, Sangkuriang. However, Sangkuriang, blinded by desire, ignored her explanation and insisted on marrying her. Determined to marrying Dayang Sumbi, Sangkuriang proposed to her. To stop the marriage, Dayang Sumbi set a condition that must be fulfilled for her to accept his proposal. Dayang Sumbi requested something very difficult. Sangkuriang had to build a dam on the Citarum River and create a large boat on the lake. What made the request even harder was her condition. Before dawn breaks, both of my requests must be completed. Without hesitation, Sangkuriang agreed and saying, "Alright, I will fulfill your request." Sangkuriang began working and cutting down a large tree to build the boat. The branches and twigs he gathered later turned into Mount Barangrang. Sangkuriang successfully built a large boat. Afterward, the powerful young men summoned supernatural being to help them the strong Citarum River to form a lake as Dayang Sumbi had requested. Seeing Sangkuriang's progress, Dayang Sumbi became worried because he was about to finish before dawn. Dayang Sumbi sought a way to thwart the marriage plan by praying to the gods for help. After praying, she received guidance to spread Boerarang, its white woven clothes. She then went around and made the rooster crow while it was still night. Hearing the roosters, the spirits helping Sangkuriang became frightened, believing that dawn had arrived. They scattered in all directions, abandoning Sangkuriang and leaving his work incomplete. Naturally, this made Sangkuriang furious, feeling he had been cheated by his own bride-to-be. Sangkuriang believed that true dawn had not yet come and that he still had time to finish the lake. In his anger, Sangkuriang destroyed the dam at Sangkyang Tikoro, causing the Citarum River to flow eastward and form Mount Manglayang. The water that had filled the lake drained away. Using his supernatural strength, Sangkuriang kicked the boat he had built, sending it flying and turning it into what is now known as Mount Tangkuban Perahu. Still overwhelmed by anger, Sangkuriang realized that this was all Dayang Sumbi's scam to prevent their marriage. His uncontrollable rage made him chase after Dayang Sumbi, who fled in fear and disappeared into a hill. Besides the boat that turned into Mount Tangkuban Perahu, the hill where Dayang Sumbi vanished became Mount Putri. As for Sangkuriang, unable to find Dayang Sumbi, he eventually vanished into the spirit realm.
Nah, itu dia cerita rakyat Tangkuban Perahu. Dan ternyata metode bercerita dalam dua bahasa seperti ini sudah diterapkan di beberapa sekolah, misalnya di SMP Lab School UPI Tasikmalaya. Siswa diajak untuk membawakan cerita rakyat daerah dalam bahasa Indonesia dan Inggris, baik melalui lomba, proyek kelas, maupun penampilan di panggung. Yeah, that's it. She told the folktale of Tangkuban Perahu, and it turned out that the bilingual storytelling method like this has already been implemented in Separa School, for example, at SMP Lab School UPI Tasikmalaya. Students are encouraged to present local folktales in both Indonesian and English, whether through competition, class project, or stage performers.
Enough, Darwin. I couldn't stand it any longer. You hurt me so deep. Darwin looked very beautiful with her petticoats, while her mother looked very old with her simple dress. On the way to the market, many people greeted Darwin.
Please give me a chance. Ha ha ha! I can give you a chance, but you must give it back to me when it was 17 years.
Cerita rakyat bukan hanya hiburan, tapi juga warisan budaya yang penuh makna. Ketika disampaikan dalam dua bahasa, cerita rakyat menjadi alat pembelajaran yang sangat kuat. Anak-anak tidak hanya belajar memahami isi cerita, tapi juga memperkaya kosakata, belajar struktur kalimat, dan mengenal cara mengungkapkan sesuatu dalam bahasa asing. Melalui cerita rakyat bilingual, siswa dilatih untuk berpikir kritis, membandingkan budaya, dan menyampaikan nilai-nilai luhur dengan cara yang lebih luas dan mendunia. Ini sangat berguna di era globalisasi, di mana kemampuan bahasa asing menjadi salah satu kunci untuk membuka banyaknya peluang. Cerita Tangkuban Perahu sendiri menyimpan banyak pelajaran berharga. Kisah ini mengajarkan pentingnya kejujuran, kesetiaan, dan menghargai orang tua. Ketika kita menyembunyikan kebenaran atau melawan dengan emosi, bisa saja berujung pada penyesalan yang besar. Kisah ini juga menggambarkan bagaimana manusia harus belajar menerima kenyataan dan menghormati batasan-batasan yang telah ditentukan. Menggabungkan cerita lokal dengan bahasa global adalah cara kreatif untuk mencintai budaya sekaligus menjadi bagian dari dunia yang lebih luas. Semoga cerita ini bisa menjadi inspirasi untuk terus mencintai budaya sendiri sekaligus membuka diri pada dunia. Karena bahasa dan cerita adalah jembatan yang menghubungkan masa lalu, masa kini, dan masa depan.